All right, so it's 2 o'clock on Monday, May 15th. My name is Sans Cleary. I'm the Vice Chair of the Board of Condemnation. We will call the meeting to order at 2 o'clock. In attendance, we have myself and Pat Mahoney, the building official. Fire Marshal Higgins is not on duty today, so we will move through the agenda. I'll entertain a motion to suspend the regular order and to address those in attendance.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So we have folks from. I guess who was here first? I'll take it that way. You guys were here first in the room. So, and you're with 346 Wakeman, correct?
394, yes.
What's that?
We're next door, with the neighbors.
Okay. Yep. So yeah, I did. So we've elected, since we've dealt with that before for the health department. We've had Mr. Oldham go out and talk to the folks, and we're working through it that way with the health department. So we'll be trying to be addressing the issue that way, and I think Mr. Oldham will be giving you regular updates, if that's okay. Okay, and so we're continuing to work on that. I meant to get, why I paused, I was like, I wanted to talk to John before a meeting, but we were dealing with another issue, and so I don't have an exact update, but I know he did go out there and talk to them and raised your concerns with them to sort of continue the effort to clean up the area and make sure we don't create another infestation problem. Okay? All right. Any other questions?
Oh, what about the tree? There was mention of the tree. There's a very tall evergreen tree, not a deciduous tree.
Okay.
Pine tree. It's got a good 15, 20 feet that's dead at the top of it.
Okay. All right. Yep. We'll have to address that as well. Okay? All right. All right. And then, are you all for the same property or different properties?
No, this
Different.
Okay. And what property are you here for, ma'am?
57 Rockridge Road.
57 Rockridge Road. Okay. So 57 Rockridge Road. So we'll move to that one on the agenda. We're actually having a hearing today for that. So just for discussion purposes, I'll make a motion that the property at 57 Rockridge meets the criteria for blight.
I second the motion.
Okay, so we can discuss that now. So essentially, we agree that the property meets the criteria for blight. The hearing that we're having right now is to confirm that. I did have a conversation with the executor of the state, if you will. Is that you?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm the executor of the estate.
So I spoke with you.
Yes.
Okay. And so my understanding from what you explained to me is that within about a month or so, that you hope to have the issues cleaned up and addressed?
Well, we have, I'm not sure if that's ambitious from the point of view that we have 3 boats and 6 or 7 cars to get rid of, and one of the sons, there are 2 sons and a grandson that inherit the property. They're the only ones that are involved in it. I'm a friend of Paul's, and I offered to do this. Had I ever known what it was going to entail, I would not have offered.
Sure.
He passed away, and we've cleaned up and sold 2 properties. One in.
So just as I said on the phone, the other properties don't concern us.
Right.
It's really here for 57
That's
Rockridge.
what we've been doing for the last year.
Addressing the other ones. Okay.
The one that we're working on right now is 57.
Okay.
And, to get rid of the cars and get rid of the boats. The boats are all operable, but to get them out of the yard, I'm not sure how long that's going to take from the point of view of getting them moved.
Okay.
I have one of the sons coming up, and he's going to help me. He's the one that knows all about the boats and all about the cars. So.
All right. Are there any other comments or questions related to it? No? Okay. So our traditional stance is, likely when we vote in a few seconds, is that, we will send you a letter, or the owner of the property, the state will be sent a letter saying that it meets the criteria for blight. It has to be cleaned up. You got to get rid of all the vehicles or garage them, and all the boats and all the debris and the camper and the other items on the property needs to be cleaned up. The door that's boarded up needs to be replaced with a standard door. And so that letter will be sent to you. You have 30 days to comply with that, as long as there's steady progress in, as long as cars keep going away and boats keep going away, There is not likely that the board will move to fines. The fines are $100 a day per day that the violations continue. And so we would ask that you just work consistently to do that. If for some reason the work stops or it looks like nothing's happening and nothing's changing, there's the potential that we would go to fines more quickly at that point. But that's what would happen. Any other questions or comments? No? Hearing none. All in favor of declaring the property 57 Rock Ridge blighted? Aye. So that passes unanimously. Are you here for the same property?
No.
Okay.
We're here for 60 Steep Hill.
60 Steep Hill. Okay. So 60 Steep Hill. So I'll make a motion that 60 Steep Hill meets the criteria for blight. All right. So it's seconded. And so now it's opened up for discussion. So just to give you an update, as you can probably see, the owner has gotten rid of 3 vehicles, brought in a dumpster, threw out a lot of stuff. They continue to work on it. I met with one of the occupants there today, walked the entire yard, pointed to specific things to say, please remove this. I said, we're probably still going to declare it blighted, even though it's a lot better than it was. There's still a pile of wood down by the road by where the truck was, and there's still the old pool filters and things like that, and a few other things around the yard. So I asked her to continue the cleaning, and that as long as within, the compliance period that I just talked about with the previous case, the 30 days or so, it gets cleaned up and there's steady progress, that there would likely be no fines. But that's where we're going. It's moving in a positive direction at this point, so we're happy with that. Any comments, questions?
Yeah, I have a question. Sure. So you're going to be following up with them because they easily slip back into bad habits.
Yep.
And once they are done with this, does the case close? Or
So it will close. Once the blight issue is resolved, once it no longer meets the criteria for blight, then it's closed out because, and again, will the property be perfect forever after that? No, obviously not. Those folks who tend to live in this way will tend to get right over the edge of what's not blight and live near that edge, potentially. Sometimes they say, hey, I like it clean, I'm going to keep it clean, but you just never know.
And there's nothing really to do about that.
No, again, people are allowed to live in their properties the way they deem, as long as it's not in violation of any regulations. And it's similar to like painting a house an attractive color to some people.
Okay.
Some people don't like it, but it's like if it's allowed, it's not a violation. And people are allowed to have stuff in their yard. I mean, they are allowed to have.
What recently happened?
Yeah.
Over there.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. This is, to my recollection, 8 years in the making. We've been complaining, but for multiple issues, and no one really did anything about it. Like, wow.
Well, I'm aware of that animal control has been out there before, and it's sort of been on the edge before. They've made them do certain things before. I believe our department has been out there a few times in terms of the habitability of the dwelling, and it wasn't quite at the level that it was this time. So I don't want to say there's been no action, and again, I understand it's not satisfactory action to the neighbors, but
anything that's positive is positive.
Yeah, and so I think this particular incident, they took it seriously, and we removed them from the house for more than a week to have them focus solely on cleaning, and which they did. They're back in the house now legally, and when I was there today, she came right out, engaged me, was saying, we're still working, we're doing it, we did this, we got rid of those 3 cars, we're working on it, we'll get it to the point where we're compliant.
I realize that this is another department, but it's all part of the situation.
Yeah.
And the animal situation there. Are they, since she has charges against her, would they ever possibly be allowed to continue this rescue group there? Is that a possibility?
That's not within the purview of this board or our departments,
I thought Officer Paris was going to be here today, that's why.
Oh, no. It's the criminal part of it, or those violation part of it is a separate issue from what this board is considering today. We're just looking at the blight issue, the stuff outside the house and the appearance of the house and the debris and the cars.
But it was sort of related because they had crates everywhere. I mean, dog crates and cat crates. That was part of the blight.
That was part of it, yeah. So, but in terms of your question of will this prevent them from operating in the future, I don't know. That would really be an animal control issue that they would have to address those types of questions.
So I have a question about, like, their garage is a little dilapidated, they're peeling, paint, like, on one of the windows that's facing my house, which is the next house over, and just, like, the condition of just the exterior.
Yeah,
I mean,
so the board deals with, dilapidated buildings, but we don't typically get involved with peeling paint. So we don't, the people that wrote the blight ordinance said, we're not gonna go out and tell people when they have to paint their houses, and we're not gonna tell them how long their lawns can be. Or if they choose to let certain parts of their yard be overgrown, that's within an individual's purview of what they're allowed to do on their own property. But again, this board doesn't hear, if somebody, when we get a complaint that says the house has peeling paint, it's not listed as a blight violation, so we can't do that. But if the roof started sagging, then it's something that we can deal with.
Well, I did notice that they must have had a leak in their roof and they haphazardly repaired it,
Okay.
So, like, it's the start of, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so any other further questions or comments?
So if the case closes and they start, we just contact,
You would have to file another blight complaint.
We have to file the whole blight.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And so that would be the process, just like any other type of complaint. If it was a noise complaint, once the noise goes away, you have to file another noise complaint next time it comes around. Hopefully the individuals learn to say, hey, we can only get to about this point before we'll start getting in trouble again. And they seem to have a genuine interest in resolving this quickly at this point.
They're very angry, though. We drive by, they give us the finger, they yell at us, I mean, I know this is not part of today's, but they're very angry. I'm like,
Yep, that's how some people are. Yep.
We've asked them if they hated it.
Yeah.
That's even the worst part of it, like.
And he's a painter. That's a kicker, because paint feeling, but that's what he does for a living, is paint.
Yeah. Okay.
So, okay. All right.
All right.
Well, thank you for getting
Sure.
this far.
Will we be notified at all when the case is closed, or?
So in the minutes of the Board of Condemnation, that's where the official transcript of, I shouldn't want to say transcript, but notes of what has happened here. So my guess is they're pretty close to it now. If they continue at the speed they're going now, probably next month we would take them off the agenda and deem them as compliant. It's pretty close to it now.
30 days would be, the start of 30 days was the day that they left.
No, the start of 30 days, we're going to declare it blighted, most likely, if we both vote for that in a few seconds, and then we would send them a letter, and typically it's 30 days from when they receive that letter.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
They've already had one letter?
They've had a notice of hearing, so they're aware of the blight complaint, and I've talked to them a few times about it, and so they're aware of it, they're working on it, they don't want to get to fines, they want it all resolved, and have it be closed out. That's their goal. And so, but yeah, so it's, it won't be, we meet once a month, so it won't be the June meeting that we declare it, decide to go to fines. It'll probably be the July meeting is when we would decide whether it needs to go to fines or not. But in the June meeting, if they're compliant, then we would vote that they have complied with the order, and we'll take them off the agenda. Any other further questions or comments? Okay. Being that we have a motion to declare the property at 60 Steep Hill Road blighted, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So the property is declared blighted. We'll send them a notice of determination from the board. Okay. Then we have Mr. Miller on the phone, and Mr. Miller, I believe you're here for the properties on Morehouse Highway, 20 Morehouse Highway. Slow progress continues. The owner, I talked to Mr. Gagner today, has a dumpster on the property. He's working on cleaning out the backyard. There's been some, they're nearly done with the siding there. He's finishing up some stonework on the front. But the side yard still remains with a fair amount of work. He is currently being fined $100 a day for that. Any questions regarding that, Mr. Miller?
I don't see any stonework being done on that property, but
right on the front.
It looks
right
the same
front
as it did 30 days ago.
Yeah. Okay. Well, again, it's a while back. It was just like metal sheeting, that kind of wire that you put up with some stuff on it, and to me, it looks like it's advanced somewhat. That right now, there's only a 1.5 by 3 foot portion or so in that ballpark that remains to be completed on that.
Right, that would be to the front of the right door, but that's the way it's looked for the last 2 months.
Okay, all right. To me, okay, I'll have to go back to old pictures, but again, there is a dumpster there. He is moving debris into that and trying to address the issues in the side yard as well. So, but he also is being fined for not complying earlier. So with 83 Morehouse Highway, I've had a few communications with the owner of that property. She indicated that the permit will be obtained today. And I don't know, Pat, if you had a chance to look it up.
It's not in yet.
Okay, all right. So we're waiting on that. But she reported to me today that those roofs will be repaired by end of day Wednesday is the current plan, is what she indicated in an email to me this morning. And that the tree that was up front was taken down. And so we will continue that and hope that the permit will get in and the work will be completed this week. Any questions on that, Mr. Miller?
Okay. Oh, I always have questions.
Sure.
You said, I think Pat is on the line.
Yes,
and,
I'm right here, sir.
And he stated that there's been no indication that there's been a permit applied for the work that's going to be completed by Wednesday. How long does it take to get a permit for?
Well, once the permit gets to us, it's a few days to get it. It's not a long process, especially for a roof. But I have not received the permit as of an hour ago. It was not in there.
Right. So the owner of the property at 83 is saying by Wednesday the roof will be repaired.
I'm just conveying what she communicated to me today in an email, that the roofer indicated they would be getting the permit today, that and that the work would be completed by end of day Wednesday. I imagine if there's a delay in the permit, there may be a delay in the completion of the work, but I'm just conveying what we were told today.
All right, because on the minutes of April 17th, it was stated that she had a roofing contractor that is coming out to the property to obtain a permit.
I understand.
Is 30 days later.
Yep, I understand.
All right, well, there's another 30 days.
Yep, no, I think that, that the fact that she's taken down the tree, that she's communicating with us in terms of her intent to make the repairs, is from my perspective, she's not ignoring us. She's not returning calls or emails. She's replying with the information that she has, and it seems to be indicative of moving to address the issue as demonstrated by the removal of the tree at the request of the board.
Okay, thank you.
You're quite welcome, Mr. Miller. All right, so back to the regular order of the meeting, approval of the minutes. Are there any questions, comments on the minutes?
Oh, sir.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Aye. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so the meeting minutes for April 17th, 2023 are approved. Then we'll move to 149 Orchard is listed there under communications. I think, Andrea, that was an error, I think we discussed earlier. That 149 Orchard Hill Lane was referred to zoning. And there was an email regarding that. I think that's what you're referring to. Mm-hmm. But that we did not feel that met the criteria for blight, being that zoning had indicated that the boat is properly stored on the property. It's just not attractive to the neighbor, but Mr. Decker will reply to that email. Number 4, under condemnation, old business. We did vote to suspend the order, so I thought I would address Mr. Barnhart in the room. Keep going? Okay. Under old business, 92 Grassmere condemnation, I did have a phone conversation with Mr. Wisniewski, the owner of the property today. He indicated that He will be going to contract tomorrow on the property. I asked him for the name of the purchaser. I spoke with him. He also confirmed that he's hoping to go to contract tomorrow. I explained to him the expectations of the board, that the property is cited for blight, that while the fines would be Mr. Wisniewski's responsibility, that he then, once he takes possession of the property, would be responsible for the blight issues. He is planning to demolish the entire property, and he said he is planning to move quickly once he obtains the property, and there shouldn't be any significant delays from his part. It would just be how quickly he can get through the permits, the asbestos demo, and all those types of things. But, I would encourage whatever process we can.
I'll keep that one on my book.
Whatever process we can expedite, I would think that would be in the town's interest. I did also have a conversation with the town attorney on the property, and he indicated that this addresses two issues on the agenda. The town is moving to foreclose on 92 Grassmere and 280 Tuckahoe, and that if that is successful, that the town will take possession of the property, will enter into an arrangement to sell the property with an owner that's going to correct the repairs as soon as they take possession of the property. So, yes, they indicated that they had started the process to foreclose on 92 Grassmere and 280 Tuckahoe. I haven't had a chance
obviously that would be forestalled if there's a contract to purchase and...
That's I don't know, in terms of where the process is. I met with him during the office hours, and he wasn't exactly sure where it was, but that, they've started action from what he advised me, and so that they will be taking that. Hopefully whatever is going to be quicker, from my perspective, is what we should do.
Mm-hmm.
So, no condemnation, new business under number 5. Under number 6, blight ordinance, old business, 400 Bronson Road. There's no change there. Has there been any communication with you?
No.
I haven't seen any change.
We had, the letters were returned from the owner, and so we've reached out to the realtor because it's listed for sale to get us a good contact.
Okay, so we don't have any proof of service at this point that we've served them with a notice of determination, so I don't think we can move to citation. So I would say we work on getting service to the current owner, and then we'll give that a try again. That's interesting. There's 1-1. We talked about 92 Grassmere, 333 Grassmere Avenue, Handy and Harmon. While they took care of a significant amount of the items on the agenda, they took care of securing the buildings, they took care of removing the graffiti. What they did not do, to at least my satisfaction, was clean the litter along the fence line and on the property. They kind of pushed everything up into these piles, and there's still litter in the piles. There's still litter along the front of the fence. There's still litter behind the fence. There's still litter along the fence as you go up the hill. So we sent them a notice of determination. We took off the 2 things that they complied with, and just sent one for litter and debris around the fence line. And so they should be getting that. And given their history of compliance just at our request, hopefully that'll be taken care of by next month. 40 Gould Avenue, number 3. So the permits,
they are going ahead.
Permits have been obtained from the town, and so they are free to go forward. I did see contractors out there waiting to meet with the owner.
They have been issued.
And so they are, from the contractors of the owner, they said they're ready to go, and so they're meeting to talk about starting. So that'll be moving forward. We talked about number 4 and number 5. Talking about number 6, permits were issued, work has started, it's progressing.
Yep. Everything's
all right.
Progressing.
Again, I think, for right now, we'd leave it on to see, so make sure there's no stalling on that in the process. I doubt there would be.
No, I think we're going to be moving.
Yep, but I'd say let's leave it on for one more month, just to ensure that. We talked about 57 Rock Ridge Road. We talked about 60 Steep Hill, 222 Stilson. I did communicate with the owner, but via email today. He repaired the roof. And he said he would. The one thing that I did notice that the window was still open, He said he will go out today and close that, that he has plans, he's working with his attorney to submit a zoning and inland wetlands application that they expect to be within the next 2 months to submit that. And I've replied to him that as long as he was, making the roof repairs, applying for permits, and applying for to go before the boards that he needs to, that even though there are some boarded up windows on the far side that are not really visible to anybody, that the board would, as long as there's steady progress and the regular updates, he did take care of the roof and said he would take care of the window. He just said it was an oversight on his part. And I think there's some progress there, so we'll give it another month and see what the progress is, and I did ask him for regular updates. Number 10, 280 Tuckahoe continues to be fined. This owner that's buying 92 Grassmere is not buying 280 Tuckahoe, according to the owner, so it continues to be fined. 146 Wheeler Park continues to be fined as well. I did talk to the town attorney regarding that, and he felt that we had the right to go on and secure the garage, and so we will move forward and put a padlock on the garage with a note to say, contact our offices for information. Under number 7, blight ordinance, new business, new complaints. We had a complaint regarding rodent activity and some debris and garbage at 25 Beaconview. I don't think it rises to the level of Board of Condemnation. It was actually an unfit structures complaint to us. I don't think it rises to the level of this board, but the health department did take on the complaint, and the pest control operator's already been out there to treat the issue and is working with the owners to clean up the some overflowing garbage cans and some debris in the yard. 167 Francis Street. So this was a new blight complaint filed, and so we have to determine if we're going to have a hearing for that next month. So 167 Francis, the one thing I saw there, I don't feel, in my opinion, that the debris in the yard is sufficient to be considered blight, but there was an abandoned car, and I did check the license plate, and the registration is expired. I think it was as of November last year, and so I think that in and of itself meets the criteria. But it is just the car, so I would gauge your opinion of whether we just refer this to zoning for the one issue.
That's what I think.
Okay.
I
All right. I agree with that. So we'll refer that particular one to zoning. 155 Granville Street, right around the corner. This is the large red house that does have, some broken windows and some missing siding, a fair portion of missing siding.
Nice.
So I thought that does meet the criteria.
I saw there was a parts of it missing. I think that does.
And so I think we would send them a notice of hearing for next month. Helen Street, which I believe is 36 Helen Street on the corner there. This has been before the board before, this particular one, and got to a point of compliance. This one I don't feel rises to the level of blight, while there's a pair of, handrails that are supposed to be on the back deck are leaning against the shed, and there's a few old branches and an old fire pit in the backyard. I don't think there's anything else there, or, there's a small amount of siding missing, but nothing significant, and so I don't feel it rises to the level of blight. Okay? And 75 Lynbrook, this was a abandoned pool complaint, and so this is being handled by the health department. So this involves a bank that's foreclosing on a property, but there's the owner is still there, or relative of the owner is still there, and so they had to evict them. I think the eviction takes place today, and so the bank indicated
will handle it.
That they are willing to move forward and basically give us permission to treat the stagnant water in the pool until such time that they remove the pool themselves. And we already addressed 346 Wakeman, the next one on the agenda. Any other questions, concerns, comments?
No.
Okay, having none, we will conclude the meeting at 2:31.